welcome to the Gary Goff Show, our look at Tiffin University football. The Dragons back in conference play this week, heading up to Hillsdale after the long trip down to Concordia College in Selma, Alabama. I'm Russ Snyder alongside head coach Gary Goff. Hello, Coach. Welcome back to town.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here after that trip, I tell you.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that trip before we get back into Hillsdale. Down to Selma, Alabama, very historic town, great historical significance around that place. Played in a very old park, old stadium, had a real old feel to it, old ballpark, right, the baseball field right behind the bench. But just talk a little bit about the experience for your kids getting down there in Selma, Alabama.
Well, most people are sitting there going, why in the world did you go play a school in Alabama? But, several years back when Notre Dame College left the conference, it left us with a Week 7 bye week, basically. And so when the conference restructured the schedule and everything, they left us with that opening and told us, hey, in several years, you'll get Week 1 or 2 bye week. Well, that hasn't quite happened yet. Yeah. But so I wanted to play more than 10 games. I just feel like the guys work extremely hard. I want to play more than 10 football games, So we called over about 200 schools, and we found this school that's making a transition from NAIA to Division II. So they had an opening, and we signed a 2-year deal with them, and we went down there for the first game. They're going to come back to us next year for the second game of the season. But what a unusual trip. Yeah. What in a weird way, a scary football team because they had some athletes.
Absolutely.
They got a lot of talent. But it was a long trip, and it was really a practice run for our Michigan Tech trip that we're going to have in several weeks. So, it just made sense. I wanted to play 11 games, and that's the opponent we found and locked him into a 2-year deal. So we agreed to go down there first, and I'm glad we did because we'll have some lifelong memories from this trip.
Yeah.
Some crazy things happened, that's for sure, but it was – I'm glad to be back in Tiffin.
Well, it's a 68-13 victory for the Dragons over Concordia. And, a lot of people, it's hard to fill a bye week in Week 1 or Week 2. Trying to fill one at this point of the season is, like you said, you had to call over 200 schools just to find one with an availability.
Well, everybody's already in conference play, So, just like next year, we can't play anybody Week 7, 8, 9. We're in conference play. Yep. So it's very difficult and very challenging. And, I feel sorry for the other schools in our conference that have to find a game Week 10, Week 8, Week 9. It's impossible.
Absolutely. Well, we won't go through all the scoring plays. We'll be here for an hour. The Dragons lit up the scoreboard with 68 points. But some things to talk about. 3 different running backs got in the end zone. That'd be pretty cool for you.
Yeah, no, they really packed the box. So we knew that we were going to have to spread the ball and throw it quite a bit. So we threw the ball more than we have all year in this game. But, there in the second half, they started to take away some of those screens or whatnot and, loosened up the inside for us to hit the run. And did a good job. Jerry Brown had a great game, 2 great runs, a receiving touchdown.
And a 33-yard touchdown run, didn't he?
Yeah.
And, 23, I'm sorry.
So, Jerry continues to get stronger and stronger as the season goes along. But, no, it was great to get all the running backs in there. And, like you said, 3 of them got a score.
Yeah, and Pedro Correa and Antonio Pipkin picking up on 3 straight drives in the second quarter for 3 straight touchdowns. Pedro didn't have a whole lot of yards, but boy, he sure did have fun finding the end zone.
Yeah, and that was kind of one of the most bizarre plays I've ever seen. But they jumped off sides, and we're about 5 yards deep in the backfield. So I'm sitting there cringing, thinking they're going to hit Pipkin. Nobody blew a whistle. Everybody kind of stood around and looked. So we snapped the ball. Everybody kind of still stood around and looked, and Pedro ran to the backside corner, and Pip threw it up to him. And I didn't know if they were going to signal touchdown or not. And they did. So bizarre play, but really it scared the daylights out of me because I was worried about the safety of our guys, because we weren't blocking, and they were standing there right beside Pipkin when he threw the ball. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's probably one of the most dangerous things on a football field is if you relax. Yeah. If you're not sure, somebody else coming at you full go and you relax, well, you're in a vulnerable position.
It was a challenge all game, and let's say I'm very excited to be back in conference. I'm very excited to have our officiating crew, and some of the conversations on the field with those officials. One official was on the cell phone during the game, and we asked him, could he get off? Yeah. I mean, it was
the field, please, sir.
You can't make this stuff up, and we're definitely going to put it in part of our book. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And one other thing here about the game before we move on, it was great to see Brock Fargas, backup quarterback, get in and get his first career touchdown pass as he found Austin Rankin in the fourth quarter for a 2-yard TD.
Yeah, no, with that entire fourth quarter, we were able to get our backups in, and a lot of freshmen played and got some game experience. And kind of funny right there with Brock, we were really excited for him to go down and had a nice drive and got his first career touchdown pass. But then the next 2 drives, I'm telling him, hand the ball off, just hand the ball off. And you can see him really foaming at the mouth during the game. He's looking at me like, Coach, they're giving me the pass. I should throw it, right? And I'm like, no, make sure you hand the ball off. But it was good to see him score. Austin Rankin got in the end zone right there as well. So really good game for us to go down there and get a win, kind of overcome the trip. It's a business trip. We got to learn how to take long trips like that and be successful. But it was a great opportunity for us to get some of our inexperienced guys in and get them some game reps, because you can't replace the speed of the game. You can't replace game reps in practice. So great experience for us.
499 yards of offense, more than what Concordia had. They come in with 25 total yards. The Dragons home to negative 42 yards rushing, 400 to 67 passing yard difference between the two teams, a total domination for the Dragons. But now we step up our competition a little bit, back to conference play in the GLIAC, and we're going on the road to Hillsdale, up in Hillsdale, Michigan, and it's homecoming for them. The team who's 1-6, they've lost 5 in a row, faced a real good Ashland team last week. Tell us a little bit about Hillsdale.
Well, I've said this all week to our team and to our coaching staff. I mean, their coaching staff at Hillsdale does a terrific job. They've been together for about 15 years now. When you watch Hillsdale on film, they're not a 1-6 team. They're really not. They're fundamentally sound on offense, defense, and special teams. They got really good players that play hard. They play, all the way down to the wire. I hadn't seen them give it up in any game, and they don't make mistakes. They really don't. They're a good football team, and they always are there at Hillsdale. So it's their homecoming. We know that they're going to be, fired up and ready to play us, and that they're going to give us their best effort. So, we're going to have to go into a hostile environment and match that intensity, and play extremely hard, because I know Hillsdale is going to, and they put up a lot of points on a lot of teams this year.
Well, especially look at them at home. If you look at their schedule and you look at their home games, I mean, they lost to Ohio Dominican by 5. The only team who's really put a hurting on them at home is Indianapolis, and Indianapolis is the first-place team in their league, too. So this team at home seems to play better than what they do on the road. And homecoming, as we talked about it, Matt and I did earlier today, about, that just gives you a little extra incentive. It's, maybe a little extra push on their part, and maybe it'll help them out early going. But, say something happens good for Hillsdale, it'll be interesting to see how your Dragons react, because it's going to be a tough ball game. But you look at it on paper, it's one we should get.
Well, but that's why we play the game.
Exactly.
You can say that about every football game. Well, this team should win, but
you ask the folks in Ann Arbor about the 60 minutes of football. It's
exactly
not,
right.
It's
exactly right. But no, we know Hillsdale is going to give us their best effort, and I'm telling you, people are probably sitting there going, "Oh, he's giving the famous coaching line. Oh,
sure.
They're a good team." They really are. They do not make very many mistakes, and they have had a lot of opportunities and just barely missed some. So I know that coach staff's doing a great job up there coaching them this week and getting prepared for us. And it's homecoming. They got a lot of alum coming back. So, we got to be prepared. And I've told the guys all week, it is about us. It's not about who we're playing. But, guys, we need to take this week's challenge and, really meet it head on, because it's going to be a great test for us right here and go into a hostile environment, a program that wins a lot of home games. And, how are we going to respond?
Yeah, I haven't been to Hillsdale.
Neither have I.
Yeah, so, that's right. Our first game was at the same time. But it'll be interesting. Much shorter trip, only a couple hours up there. And very important game, because, there's 4 games left. This is a huge game, because our final 3 games are going to be very, very difficult football games. But this one here, I know it's one game at a time. It's one play at a time. But this game here is very important for the way the rest of the season is going to lay out.
Oh, without a doubt. This is kind of a statement game right here. And it's a game that we need to go and really execute and do our jobs. But, nothing's going to be easy. We know that. We've done a great job getting to this point of the season. We're very proud of being 5-2, although we're a play away from being 6-1.
Sure.
But again, shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? But we've done a good job getting to this point, and I've told our team this week that I'm very proud of you. You've worked extremely hard to put us in this situation, but it's not over, and we got a lot of work ahead of us. Don't think it's going to be easy any step of the way, and we need to focus on the process and taking it one play at a time and seeing how good we can be. And, we got a 4-week mission right here. How good can we be over these next 4 weeks? And that'll either put us in the top part of the conference, or it'll keep us right there in the middle of the pack.
Yep, we're sitting right now at number 2 in the GLIAC South with 4 games remaining. As we said, the Dragons at Hillsdale. It's a 4:30 kickoff. A little bit of an interesting start time there for us with the homecoming up there. I'm sure that's why the start time is at that time. You can catch the game at tudragonradio.com, as well as at Coast Country 100.9 WMJK out of Sandusky. One part I think, Coach, where we have an advantage in this game, and part of this year has been a pretty strong point for you, is in our special teams.
Yeah, we've done a good job on special teams.
Mostly Tomislav. He's having a great year.
Tomislav has been phenomenal all year, but I want more.
Sure
I want
do.
some punt returns for scores.
Sure.
I want some kickoff returns
So
for
do
scores.
So do I.
We can get better there too. But no,
Absolutely.
I really mean this. I'm very, very proud of this team, but I don't want to let a good opportunity slip through our hands. And I told them, we're going to be hard on you for the next 4 weeks. We're going to demand your best. And That's why you guys came here. That's why you prepared yourself all off season to get to this point. So we're not going to let it slip away. And, we've said this before, and when we used to say this, we meant, we had to get rid of a lot of players, but you're either with us or you're against us. And we're lucky right now. We got a room full of guys that are completely on board and ready to get this win. And it's been great for us to hear these seniors talk through the course of this season about, y'all have no idea where we've come from. You have no idea the price we've paid. And that makes it all worthwhile. And, if we can all continue to come together and work extremely hard, the sky's the limit for us.
Absolutely. As we said, 4:30 kickoff this Saturday, Dragons and the Chargers. Coach, thank you so much for your time. Go get your kids ready, and we'll catch you next week.
Sounds good.
He's Gary Goff. I'm Russ Snyder, and this has been our preview of the Tiffin University Dragons at Hillsdale as part of the Gary Goff Show on the Tiffin University Dragon Network.